So a lot of people tend to think that the IRS just wakes up one day and they're like, you know what? I think I'm going to garnish Chantrell's wages, or go into her paycheck and take her money, or go into her account even and take all of her money. But it doesn't work exactly like that. Thank God. So what I'm going to do today is just break down to you what happens if the IRS, if you owe them, and then they say they're going to garnish your wages, and how long it takes them before they start deciding to garnish wages, so that you're not afraid. A lot of people have sleepless nights and they're wondering what's going to happen if I owe the IRS. Why do I owe the IRS, and all of those things? But it takes them time before they decide to start garnishing your wages. So let me tell you a little story. So I've been doing taxes for roughly 30 years. And back when I first started doing taxes, I had a friend that I was going to church with, and he came into church just really, really upset, scared, trying to figure out what's going on and all of that. And we're like, well, what's wrong with you? And he was like, man, the IRS just knocked on my door and came to my house and was like, you owe us you owe us taxes. And we're like, okay. And because I was just starting out doing taxes, right? I'm like, what in the world? I've never heard of anything like that. Now I'm scared. Now I'm like, what? So what happened? And he was like, well, they came to my house and knocked on the door and they were like, you owe us this money in taxes. I'm like, now why would they do that? It's like, well, I haven't paid my taxes or done my taxes in about 10 years. Hello. Of course they're going to come and find you because you haven't done your taxes in 10 years. But what I do want to tell you is they're not going to call you, they're not going to text you, and they're definitely not going to email you unless you have made communication with them and told them to call you or to email you or anything like that. And the fact that they came to his address, that's very scary. But I'm going to tell you how to not let anything like that happen to you if you do owe the IRS. There are things that are in place that can help you so that you are not sitting up owing them, scared, thinking that they're going to come and garnish your wages, take your paycheck, and all of those things. They're not, if you make sure that you pay attention. A lot of times when you owe the IRS, you're nervously thinking like, what am I going to do? You're checking your mail, you're looking online, you're looking at all the things, but you can slow things down and make sure that you're paying attention to all of the communications from the IRS. It's very important that every single letter that they send you, all of the correspondence, you read it thoroughly and fully, and you totally understand it. And then you make sure that you respond to them however they're telling you to respond. It could be by phone, by mail, or going down to the office that the IRS has for people to come to. Any way that you can communicate with them to make sure that they're not trying to take your money out of your paycheck and or out of your bank account is going to be best for you. So let me just tell you, the IRS has a very specific timeline, a very specific series of things that they must do by law before they start garnishing wages. Now, to answer the question, can they garnish my wages if I owe them? They can. They can put a levy on your property. They can go into your bank account and take the money out of your bank account. But they only do that after they have tried to contact you multiple times. So if you have not been answering their phone calls, if you have not been answering their letters, you have not been making sure that you respond to them, and then you haven't been making payments or anything, then you need to know that it's a possibility that they will start garnishing your wages. But we're not going to let that happen. So like I said, there is a timeline that the IRS is going to follow. So let's go over that right now. So first, if you owe them, they're going to send you a letter. The number is CP14 if you wanted to know. They're going to send you a letter. That notice is going to say, hey, this is how much you owe us. And if you don't pay us by this date, penalties and interest are going to start accruing. So certain time frames, certain timeline, all of the money that you owe them is going to have penalties and interest on it. And it's going to start accruing if you don't pay them by April 15th. Now, if you ignore this letter, they're going to keep on sending you letters multiple times. Each one is going to get more and more urgent. That is months and months of communication from the IRS before they send you a letter that says intent to levy. That intent to levy could mean that they're going to contact your job, start taking money out of your paycheck, contact your bank, take the money out of your bank, even contact your lender or your loan company and start putting liens on property, etc. So it's in your best interest when you get a letter like that from the IRS, or even if you know you owe them, contact them, make payment arrangements, let them know that you do intend to pay them, but you can't pay them the entire amount right now. So in other words, garnishments only happen when they have exhausted all ways to communicate with you. So that means you haven't contacted them. You haven't answered any of their letters. They've called, they've sent you letters back to back to back. You haven't said anything. And now they're like, well, darn it. Now we have to get our money some kind of way. Now, what people don't realize is the IRS does not want to garnish your wages. Do you know why? Because it costs them money. It costs them fees. They have to go after, they have to contact, they have to take the time and write, the banks and all the places and do all the legal things in order to do that. So they would much rather prefer if you contact them and make payment arrangements or anything. Ask for offer and compromise. Ask for a decrease in the amount. Anything that you can do to contact them and communicate with them and ask them for their help. They would rather you do that than to start garnishing your paycheck. Okay, so if you do owe the IRS, what can you do to stop garnishments? This is the most important part of this video, and I want you to get a pen and paper so you can write this down. First, make sure that you make payment arrangements. Any type of payment plan is going to help you. You contact them. There's website that you can go on, irs.gov, and they will assist you with applying for a payment plan. And then you need to make sure that you stay on that payment plan and you pay as you said that you were going to do. So if you said you're going to pay them $100 a month on the 12th of the month, then make sure that you pay your $100 a month on the 12th of the month. It's very important that if you set up a payment plan, that you stick to it and that you're on time every month with your payments. The next thing that's important is that you file all of your taxes on time every single year. So yes, you're on a payment plan and you're making those payments, but you also have to make sure that you submit your taxes on time so that you can keep the payment plan up to date and that you can stay on that payment plan. And a lot of people think that if I contact the IRS, it's just going to make it worse. That is not true. That is far from the truth. When you contact them, that's what's going to make it better for you and for them. You're contacting them, letting them know that you're not going to not pay what you owe them. And it helps them to trust you to give you a payment plan so that you can make those payments payments every single month. If you're dealing with the IRS right now and you owe them, just know there are so many ways to make arrangements with them. I do have a video on my channel here, and I will link it below so that you can watch it, so that you can learn all the ways to get the payment help that you need. And if you want to stay ahead of your taxes and make sure that you don't owe at tax time, make sure you get my tax season survival kit. I have linked it below in the description box, and there is also a QR code here that you can scan, but it's going to help you stay on top of your taxes and make sure that you're not owing. Thanks for joining me. Have a great one. Bye.